Hello, welcome back to Drinking by Myself. I'm Emma, and in today's video I'm going to tell you my TBR for the Book Junkie Trials. So this is a readathon being put on by Rachael Marie. And honestly, I've never seen a readathon quite like this. It's so cool. She's done such an amazingly impressive job of it. I'm sure you've seen it already because it's been literally like all over BookTube, all over Twitter. But she's created this whole map, so it's a quest and people have been divided. You can pick your teams, or there's even like a personality quiz, like the sorting hat, to put you into a team. So divided into 4 different teams, each with their own leader, and depending what team you're in, you have a different path through the map and therefore different challenges. It's very cool, and there's even like mini challenges that are going to be along the way, and a whole extra competition that's happening at some point during the month. The readathon is the whole month of July, by the way. I will link to Rachel's video about it because you really need to go and watch that to see like all of the amazing little elements of it that come together. It's really, really cool and really impressive. So I decided to do it because how could I resist something this cool and this well thought out? But there's another thing that makes it different from any other readathon that I've done before, which is, firstly, I don't usually make TBR videos, but for this one, you have to. You have to declare your TBR before the readathon starts, and then it's not changeable. You can't DNF, you can't swap a book out for something else, you can't even change the order. You have to read in the right order of the path through the map. That's the bit I'm really nervous about because I change my TBRs for readathons all the time, usually. Like, whatever I decide to read, I will just make it fit the prompt, whereas this time it's like I have to declare it now and I have to stick to it. So who knows how this is going to go, but let's give it a try. I did the personality quiz and I got put into Team Outlaw, but then on looking at all of the different teams and the different challenges and the different abilities they have, I decided that I actually wanted to be a bard because those challenges suited me a bit better, and also bards have everyone has a strength and a weakness, and their strength is that they have the ability to DNF one book and it still counts as a completed book. So I was like, I'm definitely going to need that because some of the books I've picked are quite long. So I'm definitely going to want that DNF ability. Our weakness is that one of the books that we read has to contain poetry or musical themes. So let's get to this TBR. I'm scared to even say it all because I keep changing it so much, and now it's going to be final and I won't be able to swap anything out. What if I haul some new books I want to read? Because it's so stressful. So, on the map, all the bards start. The first stop is the Elven Guard. And the Elven Guard are surprised by your visit and are immediately on the offensive. Read a book with war, military or political themes to learn how to help calm the situation. Okay, so that one I feel like is pretty easy. I don't really read war and military stuff, but definitely a lot of the books that I read are political. So, a book with political themes, this is The Reluctant Fundamentalist by Mohsin Hamid. This was shortlisted for the Booker Prize back in 2007. I wanted to read it for basically 12 years because I started hearing about it back then, about how amazing it is. So I'm very excited to finally be on the hype train for this one. Then, once we've left the Elven Guard, we then go to the Hallow Isle. On the Hallow Isle lurk incorporeal monsters and the ghosts of your past. Read an atmospheric or horror book to pass this test of nerve. Okay, so this month I read the book Rattle, which is the first in the Bone Collector series. It's a really creepy book about a serial killer who collects children with bone deformities and like collects their skeletons. Super creepy. So I've got the second one in the series right here. This is The Collector by Fiona Cummins. So this follows directly on from the events of the last book, and the Bone Collector is still out there. Top 3 is The Empty Barrel Inn. Every bard deserves a swig or two. Some say it even aids warming up those vocal cords. Enjoy an indulgent read. So, there are lots of ways of interpreting what an indulgent read is. I decided to go for a reread. So, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky is, I've only read it once, but it's like one of my favourite books of all time, just from the one time I read it, which was probably 6 or 7 years ago, or even longer. So I actually had my own copy. I got given it for Christmas years ago, and somehow I've lost that copy. So I bought myself a new one, and I've just seen, this is second hand, it's got an instruction, why can't I speak today? It's got an inscription to somebody called Louise. Dear Louise, a wonderful book for a wonderful person. Lots of love from Abby and Sophie. And Louise just threw this book away. If you're Louise and you lost your book, do let me know because I've got it. Okay, our 4th stop is The Giant Squid. A fearsome fellow. Read a book that intimidates you and this foe shall be a doddle. Okay, so got a book here. This is a proof copy, so you can't see the lovely cover. I'll put it up on the screen. This is Diary of a Somebody by Brian Bilston. So Brian Bilston is the famous Twitter poet. Nobody knows his real name or his real identity, but he writes these amazing and funny little poems on Twitter. So this The reason this intimidates me is just because, first, it's quite big, and also I guess it's a style that I'm not sure that I know very much about or how I'm going to get on with. So this is a novel written by him, but it's a novel about Brian Bilston, the poet. And I struggle with poetry sometimes. I struggle to like get the meanings sometimes. So I do really like Brian Bilston's poems because they're quite straightforward, but very clever. So I think I will really like this one, but it does intimidate me a bit. But it also fits with my weakness, which is I have to have something with a poetry theme. So those are all the 4 that I've chosen, and then the final stop is, what's the name of the stop? The Bookie Grail. Here you find a lost manuscript delivered on this forgotten island by a fallen star. And then you read the group book. Everyone has to read this book, Stardust by Neil Gaiman, which I have read again a few years ago. Absolutely loved it. And I love the movie so much. So I don't have a copy, but I will go and buy one. So that's it. I've declared it. I've said my TBR out loud. So I'm now going to be reading these books in this order in the month of July, plus Stardust here. That looks good. I'm quite excited for this stack of books, actually. So do leave me a comment if you are also #Bard, or let me know which team you're part of and if you're taking part in this. Rachel, I think it's such a great idea and I'm so excited that you're doing this. So give this video a thumbs up if you think my TBR looks okay, and of course hit that subscribe button below for new videos. I post twice a week, and also to keep up with my updates and how I get on the Bookie Trail. Is that what it's called? The Bookie... Trials. It's trial. Did I say trail this whole time? It's the Book Junkie Trials. Okay, we've got it. See you next time.